With Bandai about to drop a new restriction and ban list for the Digimon TCG on the 23rd of August, I figured today, a week ahead of time, is a good time to talk about my wish list for the bans and just some possible discussion around those and your own. That being said, this is the hater edition. It's mostly just me being like, I'm kind of sick of this shit, and whether or not these cards actually deserve bans is entirely up to you. I'm just kind of slinging stuff out here and you know, just putting it out into the ether, hoping for the best. My name is My Pocket Lucky. You could just call me Lucky, and yeah, let's get into it. To kick us off, one of my least favorite archetypes in the game because it is very inflexible as far as how you build it, and it kind of just is a one-trick pony, but it is very good at one-trick pony. It's the Royal Knights. I want to see the Royal Knights get a slap on the wrist. I don't want it to be deleted out of the game. I still want it to be playable and viable, but I'm just tired. I'm just tired, man. I'm tired. 60% of my matches being against Royal Knights is exhausting. I want to make content against other decks. So probably not a hot take, but right off the gate, probably Omekamon from BT20 can get limited to one. Royal Knights of the Purge, something like that. I'd be okay with Guardian getting slapped. But again, I don't want the deck to absolutely just disappear. But the fact that it's so consistent and it always just does the thing, always, no matter what, is kind of obnoxious. And it doesn't need all the gas it's been given, in my opinion. It's always just been, you know, valid since its inception. That being said, whenever it comes to a deck where you're essentially set on an exact timer every single game, because even if they brick, they're still able to do what they got to do, I'm generally not going to like that. I think that piloting and interacting with your opponent should be more important than racing against a clock, but Bandai disagrees. So, but those are something that I would like to be hit. Following up, this is like a personal vendetta thing. BT14 Bowmon, just restrict it to one. They have a new egg that is a once per turn that does something very similar. They don't need this little furball to continue to commit war crimes. I'm not going to sit here and act like, you know, the Stark Animal deck is the strongest thing in the world, but with this egg in particular, it's very obnoxious. Speaking of purple cards that are extremely obnoxious, let's talk about the number one on the hit list for so many people, Growlmon X Antibody. Wow, what a card. It just does so much for so little risk and like so little resource. It just allows you to get away with way too much. The draw one, trash one is huge, allowing the Guilmon engine to do what it needs to do. But on top of that, having an on deletion to just allow yourself to have a sticky board where you can just play another Guilmon from trash without paying the cost is massive. And then once you get into the mid and later game, when it's inheritable, it gets to proc, when you're deleting your opponent's Digimon and gaining a memory, it just keeps your turn even longer. We all know what it does. We've all seen it at this point with the entire package. It just does way too much for way too little, and it needs to get slapped down to one, in my opinion. I don't really know how people are going to feel about this one, but the EX4 Guilmon, it's the one where it's like, hey, if you got 20 more cards in your trash and your opponent's trash combined, this gets rush on play. Bring that down to one. At this point, I don't even know if that'll make a difference because there's people running one or two anyway, but like force it. Because there used to be a time where it was like, okay, getting to like, you know, 20 cards in trash is going to be difficult, right? Like the game state was different back in EX4. It was different back then. But now it's like, it's very easy to turbo through your deck without having to sacrifice other things, right? Because before it was like, if you want to turbo through your deck, that's kind of all you're doing. You're not also getting protections. You're not also wiping boards. You're not also going wide as frick. Like you're not doing all these different things. But now you have the ability to do all of the things plus turbo mill your deck. And this Guilmon gets way too much value off of that. So limit that bad boy to one. It's too much for what it offers. Speaking of a card that does too much, I know this just came out and I use it a lot, but that's part of the reason I want it to get shot. Arrestramon, Superior Mode, BT21. What the fuck were they thinking? Raiden Piercing is like, yeah, that's great keywording. Hell yeah, baby. But then it's like, we can attack without suspending. The fuck? So you get to attack without suspending on Digivolve, and then you get to attack again. And like, in theory, you're just checking security no matter what because you're raiding, huh? And then it gets boosted for each Digivolution card in its It's inheritables by 1k. So you could very well have a training under it, a rookie under it, and a champion, making it a 13k DP. That is a bossmon. Hello? That's a whole ass bossmon. That does more than Marsmon does. Right there. That's insane to me. It's just completely bonkers, and it's like power creep times 12. And I just don't get it. Speaking of power creep, let's talk about Medieval Gallantmon. I think I've talked about this card in every single one of these videos. I am this card's biggest hater, and I run one in every deck minimum. If you're not running a Medieval Gallantmon in your deck, in my opinion, you're just kind of throwing matchups you don't need to throw. I mean, you could still win them, obviously, but like this card can just shut down entire decks. It just does. It just fucking wins. It does way too much. I'm not going to cover what this card does. All the cards are on screen, obviously, but like, bruh, why? What were they thinking? What were they thinking when they printed this goofy card? I hate it. I hate everything about it. I hate the art. No, I'm just kidding. I love the art. But I hate the fact that it's just like an overpowered, overtuned option card as a body. Huh? And then the Alliance and Vortex thing is ridiculous. I don't even want to touch on that. Next up, we got Gallantmon X Antibody. Again, it just does so much in comparison to its colleagues. It's a level 6 that has multiple when digivolving effects, has a end of attack and when attacking effect, and all turns just omni protection essentially. I mean, it's not player protection, but whatever. Like it's very hard to get rid of this card in general. It is very hard to get this card off the board. And like, if you're purposefully teching during the deck building process, you almost always have to like tech for this, right? If you're going to a regionals, if you're going to a larger event, you know you're going to run into a Gallantmon X Antibody at some point. Having options to deal with this is like very important. The fact that it can simply just shred through your security and or your board state is despicable. Speaking of shredding through your security or board state, Omnimon X Antibody from BT20 is just so splashable in so many decks right now. And again, it's like almost an auto include one of, because it just lets you win. Sometimes you just fall short and it just lets you win. It can get stuff off the board and it can attack without suspending. Great. Like, what more do you freaking need? You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, its ability where it's like one of your Digimon gain rush for the turn and attack without suspending, that's not a when digivolving effect. That's not an on play effect. That is simply an end of your turn once per turn effect. That's dumb. I've watched more than one match. I want you to understand this. More than one match where somebody swung in with their ultimate or like a mega into security, got their opponent's security stacked down to 0, right? And they had gained themselves some memory and they just slammed this onto the board. There's more than one match. Now, granted, that person was probably going to win anyways because they had a ton of value on board and they had cleared their opponent's board state, but it's like this just like ended it there. Usually you're seeing this in a scenario where level 6 is swinging in, clearing security shields, and then you just digivolve into Omnimon for the final swing because, again, it can just attack for free, kind of like the Blitz Omni back in the day that would unsuspend and let you swing. But this also gives you other value and get rid of blockers and whatnot. I think this one's a pretty common ask. The new Omnimon Alter S from EX9, this bitch gotta go. I'm an Alter S enjoyer. I love this card. I love my Nokia decks. I love, Blitz Greymon, Kreskarumon. All that is super, super fun. But this card has got to go. What were they thinking? This is miserable. I'm not trying to deal with the protection plus deletion and then just being able to spit out cards just constantly. Fucking what? Like, I'm good. Get this down to 1. We don't need to deal with this anymore. Thank you, wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Shine Greymon Ruin Mode. It's just a feel bad card. There's some cards I believe in trading card games where they're not really the end of the world. This card's very strong. This card just wins games, right? But even in a deck where it's not necessarily just winning them the game, the fact that you could put this in any purple or yellow deck and essentially lock out somebody's entire turn is despicable. It's disgusting. And it's pretty consistent at doing it. There's been multiple times where like my friends have gone to an event and they were having a good round and it was fine. And then Shine Greymon Ruin Mode came out and it just fucked up everything, just like right off the bat. And even Death X, I don't feel like has ever had this kind of fuck you power when it comes to a level 7 just doing wide board state type things. Because Death X is very much like, okay, you have until the end of your turn to do something. Whereas this one's just like, yeah, your entire turn, nothing's happening. Yeah, your entire turn, nothing's happening again. Like ×2. Oh, guess what? I'm doing it again. Like, it's just gross. Again, this is another card. We all just kind of know what it does. It needs to go to 1. It's not going to stop decks from running it because, like, it's very, very good. And going to 1, it's still probably going to be seen because so many decks now can just rip through their entire library and they just have a really high chance of seeing it. So it is what it is. This one's going to be a little bit different. I think that Gravity Crush should just get shot at this point. I think with Hammer Spark getting shot, with Hidden Potential getting, like, all the other ones have got shot. Blinding Ray, Hidden Potential, Hammer Spark, all of them gotten shot. Shoot Gravity Rush. Just fucking shoot it. Getting 2 memory for 0 is fucking insane. It is despicable. It needs to go down to 1. There is so many decks that could just run this Gravity Rush, Gravity Rush, Gravity Rush, GG's, or like Gravity Rush, GG's, right? It's like, okay, at the end of my turn, lose 2 memory. I don't give a fuck because I'm winning this turn. That's the vibe you get from this card, and it's just, it's not like it's not a good faith card. It doesn't feel good to run or to play against. It just, like, oh, okay, I just got cheated out of you know, a game state. Cool. So yeah, get that down to 1, get it out of here. I think all these 0 cost option cards that just do all the things should just be at 1 at this point, because fuck those cards. Let's talk about the big one. Sayo and Co. Realistically, as a Galaxy player, I want this card to get hit. And originally my take was going to be, let's just hit every single possible combo that we're aware of right now. Let's hit the Leopardmon combo. Let's hit all the Homer. Like, just don't even like do the full stack thing, right? Just say, like, if you're running a Homer and a Sayo, you can't do that. Just Sayo or just Homer. If you're running a Leopard and a Sayo plus the other pieces, no. I'm saying, like, hit it with any of the other cards, right? Can't be ran with any of the other cards. Not all of them, just any of the others. But I think I want to take it a step further. This card has been problematic for so long, and I don't run it in most of my Galaxy decks. Whether or not I should is a whole different story. But the deck is very much runnable without Sayo and Co. Okay, you could just run Co and Sayo. It's fine. Plus other tamers. Like, the deck still fucking works. So you're not going to stop Galaxy from being a threat or a problem. It has a good core, has a good engine, still got a good tamer available to it. That's also a memory setter for that extra value. And it's in red blue. There's a ton of things they can do there. We don't need Sayo and Co. Limit it to 1. Restrict every other single card. Like, if you want to run this, you're not fucking putting in any of the other cards that could possibly combo with it. They're banned. So ban those completely, and restrict Sayo and Co. down to 1. I think that's an absolute necessity because fuck this card. That's why. Yep, gives Galaxy a bad name. We don't need turn scumming in this game. Just a really quick wish list. Outside of that, I know before in the past I've been an advocator of bringing back the Gabumons and unrestricting them, and the Greymon X antibodies unrestricting them. I honestly don't really care too much about those two, but I do think that Eismon Scatter Mode, the one that draws you 3 and then discard 2, is a coin flip. The problem with that card is that if we unrestrict that and we allow it to go back to 4, purple decks are just going to run 4. It's going to be a must include, and we're going to run into a similar situation with other decks, and you know, some of the cards I've requested to get limited to 1. And I don't want that. I don't want decks to become homogenized. It's part of the reason I have a problem with cards like the option training cards and the option scramble cards. While they're great for the state of the game and the health of the game because it allows weaker decks to perform, it does homogenize some slots across the board, and it makes stronger decks stronger. So I have some issues there, but there's only so many ways you can balance this game with the direction Bandai is going. So we just got to kind of deal with, you know, what we've got. But if possible, I would like Bandai to introduce a new system, and like a suspect test system, okay, where they can reintroduce cards that are on a, you know, ban list, the restricted to 1 list, to a testing pool. And during this testing pool, if the cards see over X amount of usage, right? I don't know that fucking number would be. I don't know if it's like 20% usage and, you know, X colored decks or whatever, that it either gets restricted to one number or another. So for example, with Eismon scatter mode, if it sees 50% usage across all purple decks, they bring it back down to, you know, down to 3. And then if it continues to see that usage, or if it sees, you know, you lower the threshold, maybe make it 35%, they bring it down to 2. And then if it still sees whatever the next threshold is, we'll call it 20%, bring it back down to 1. But ultimately the goal would be to start suspect testing cards instead of just looking at data of what's winning and what's annoying people and Twitter posts and, you know, that kind of thing. I think having a suspect test group or a way to suspect test things would be great. I don't know how they would go about it. I was just giving an example. I'm not saying that's exactly how I want them to do it because I'm not fucking Bandai, right? And that's not my job. My job is to be like, hey, I don't like this, I want to bitch about it. Or hey, I like this, I want to yap about it and praise it. But with something like Eismon scatter mode, I think decks that are really having a hard time, like Yuki's deck, the Dark Dragon deck, for example, might get a bit stronger and a bit more viable. But again, the concern is that other purple decks that are already very fucking strong will become way stronger, and I don't really want that either. I don't want to just be like, here, have some fucking tools back where you could just put it into everything. That's why I would really, really like the suspect test. I want to make that very, very clear that I'm not asking them to just absolutely give us this back. I would like them to sus test things out. I think that would be super cool. And that can go both ways. Maybe not just bringing things off the restricted list, but also like testing a ban rate for a card. Do we need to restrict this actually, or is this just something that people are bitching about? And, you know, being able to do it that way might be helpful. So yeah, that's really it for me. What are you tamers looking at as the problem cards? What do you really want to see hit? Do you want to see something come off the restricted list? I mean, it's entirely possible that we could get that to happen as well. I left some cards off this list because I didn't want to be overly negative. I think having as many as I already have is probably enough. Bandai's not known to do big sweeping changes like that all at once, so we might see, you know, a few here, a few there, but it's not going to be anything crazy like I've got here. I mean, I've got what, fucking 15 cards or something? I don't know. There's a lot, so that's not gonna happen. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to the next season of the Digimon TCG and what they have to offer for us. I love the game. Obviously, I made a whole channel essentially just to yap about TCGs and Digimon and Pokemon and whatnot. And the primary focus has been the Digimon TCG. So I love this game. Pretty happy with how things are going. There's just some things where I wish maybe we did more R&D ahead of time on the cards, or fucking, you know, maybe we were a bit quicker to act when there's problems. I don't know, whatever. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day. If you haven't already, be sure to check out my link tree in the description below. In that link tree, there is an event section called LDCC, Lucky's Digital Connect Coliseum. On the first Sunday of every single month at 8 p.m. EST, I host an event live on Twitch where we have special rules for the Digimon TCG and deck building. It's a super fun time. Everybody who participates enjoys it. We have some really new players who like barely understand the game and are getting better, and we have some very experienced players and everybody in between, and everybody just really enjoys it. There's a little fun prize you can get at the end if you win. But yeah, it's just a good time. The videos are here on this channel if you want to check that out as well, where I kind of edited out some of the downtime. But enough yammering from me. I will actually catch you in the next one this time. Okay, bye-bye.